Hello and welcome to the Mattniverse. Today we're going to further explore Hiveswap Friendsim. 2 weeks later and volume 16 is out. Some more friends we can hopefully obtain once again. Volume 16 of Cult and Captivation. You crash landed on Eternia 16 long episodes ago, and sometimes you feel like you've been here forever. You've had many adventures and met many Alternians. Some, all, none of whom have become your friends. But now, for some reason, you have a hunch that you're near the end of your Alternian travels. Oh no. That sucks. For one thing, you seem to be coming to the edge of the populated region you've been walking through all the time you've been here. For another, the intense craving that has animated you throughout your journey feels like it might be waning. It's not quite gone, but like a diner who stuffed himself to bursting but is still seeking that last sweet morsel that will make his meal complete, you're still on the prowl for ever sweetest morsel of friendship. Alright. That sucks. I don't want it to end just yet. I've had fun with this. I mean, there's a lot of cool friends you meet. I still do wonder if you will ever meet a Sea Dweller and make a friend of a Sea Dweller. I don't know. I hope, but I'm not sure. But I do hope that eventually it does happen. I mean, we haven't really talked about them that much. I just kind of wonder how they are down there and what, like, it's different in a way, like their hives and stuff. But that sucks. I don't want this adventure to end. I'm having a lot of fun with it, really. But anyways, I guess let's get to our two current friends. So we got Fozzer Falls. I'm going with Fozzer, it looks like that. And Marvis Zoloto. Very interesting. Apparently, the other guy is a clown, so at least we get to do a third thing of a clown that we've done before. Once we went to a clown church. The second one was the kid, and who kind of died and went to like some Ferris wheel thing. It's very interesting, but that wasn't really the true ending though. Anyways, so now we get to go to another clown thing, but that's later. So, let's begin with Fozzer. The night is turned foggy, and you can't see far in any direction. But you seem to be surrounded on every side by bare ground, hummocked and pitted almost like a wild abstract sculpture, and covered with greenish moss. Based on the experiences you've had with Alternian flora, you imagine the moss is probably poisonous, acidic, explosive, or something of that nature. Where'd that sign come from? Suddenly, a shadow looms up out of the darkness, making you jump, but it's only a leaning signpost. As you move closer, you can see that the sign says, "Welcome to Happy Absence Pit Park." Before you can figure out what that might be, you hear a voice muttering to itself in the fog, and sound like dirt being shoveled. Shovel, shovel, toil and trouble, low bloods of the world unite. You move cautiously toward the voice until the figure of a troll emerges from the fog. He seems to be digging in the hard, bare ground. This is a tide in the affairs of trolls which taken at the flood leads on the workers' paradise. You clear your throat, and the troll turns swiftly. Who's there? Who's there, I say? You announce soothingly that you're just a poor wayfaring stranger. Not a ghost or any nonsense like that. You confirm that you were not. Good, because I don't believe in them. I'm a dialectual materialist. Well, if you're not a ghost, who are you? You explain that you are a humble alien who recently, well, not so recently, crashed on Alternia, and who's been looking ever since for... Here you blushingly trail off into a mumble. The troll snorts and comes closer to study you. His breath is not of the freshest. Okay. An alien? Well, you are the color of cheese. But it could be makeup. You could be a high blood in disguise. Come to watch poor little Fozzer Falls pursuing his humble profession of pit perturber. I'm going with that. For some unknown reason of your own. Fozzer rubs at the exposed skin of your arm to see if the makeup will come off. It doesn't, but he's still suspicious. A real alien would know what outer space is like. Describe outer space to me. You describe attack ships on fire of the shoulder of Orion, and watching sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. You express the belief that all those moments will be lost in time like tears in the rain. These aesthetic deceptions seem to satisfy Fozzer. Jeez. He nods his head and seems to think. He doesn't appear to be a fast thinker. Finally, he seems to have an idea. Does the cheese entices where you come from have a strong consciousness of class struggle? You have no idea what he's talking about, but you were always good at guessing the right answer on multiple choice tests. Oh boy. You assure him that the people you come from have such a strong consciousness of class struggle that they use it to jack up their cars when they get flat tires. A big smile overspreads Fozzer's face, and he pumps his fist in the air. Pleased to meet you, comrade alien. All power to the workers. I imagine that finding me performing the honest labor of the working class makes you feel right at home. You assure him that it does. I suppose that you wish you could share in the simple proletarian joys and sorrows of the Alternian oppressed classes. You're not sure what proletarian means, but sharing joys and sorrows sounds like a hopeful prelude to friendship. So you say you were just thinking that you would like to share the same kind of joys and sorrows. Easily done, comrade. Here, take this soil perturbation lance. I mean shovel. Shovel would just be so much easier to say. You can enter into solidarity with the Alternian working class right now. No, don't thank me. Freedom, brotherhood, and equality is my motto. Conduct your self-perturbations right here, if you please. He points to where he was shoveling, and he begins shoveling there too. The moss that covers the ground is tough as leather, and the Alternian soil is rocky, hard, and unforgiving. No surprise there. And before long, you're sweating profusely, but no exaggeration is too great for the pursuit of friendship. Exertion, not exaggeration. Okay. Fozzer watches you labor with brotherly satisfaction. Or brotherly. Where am I getting these words? I don't know. Ah well. Class solidarity is a wonderful thing, isn't it? From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. You look like a walking cheese, but your muscular development is impressive. So, just to pass the time while you labor in solidarity, what do you think of our planet? What has been your impression of it on your visit from outer space? You suppose it's no worse than a lot of places, with some good points and some bad. It's by far the worst place you've ever seen or heard of. Let's go with the first one. As a guest, it's only polite to say nice things about your host's home planet. Besides, meeting Fozzer has stoked your desire for a sweet friendship morsel, and a little praise and flattery often goes a long way to make people like you. So with the little breath you have to spare from your digging, you tell Fozzer that you found Alternia most interesting. The fierce rush of life here induces a solitary wakefulness, and boredom is virtually unknown. Also, the social structure arising from the hemospectrum and the multidimensional relationship matrix is very unusual, producing a fascinating array of possible interactions among people. You were looking forward to the day when you could tell your grandchildren about it. He does not look happy about anything I just said. But Fozzer doesn't look as pleased as you'd hoped. So you find Alternia agrees with you. Oh yes, very much, you pant. You find it interesting and fascinating. Gotta do what he does. Definitely. To you, the spectacle of those who happen to have been born with certain blood colors, exploiting and oppressing those who have not in just a picturesque detail. Well, you wouldn't go so far as to... You find nothing objectionable in a society where the strong kill the weak at will, based on nothing more than the color of a bodily fluid, where the upper classes see the lower as little more than inanimate objects, whose only purpose is to serve them, where the whole corrupt society is structured solely to breed cannon fodder for a psychotic empress mad plan to conquer the entire galaxy, more peoples to oppress. That certainly wasn't While the streets run with rust, orange, and gold blood, you stand unconcernedly and remark how interesting and fascinating Alternia is. While the fish blood and their bluish lackeys stride the pap from the mouths of lowbud wranglers, you smile pleasantly and mark how unusual Alternia is. Certainly not, but one can't judge other cultures by one's own... Oh, you can't dodge your class responsibility that ways, you cur. You so-called intellectuals try to hide your fawning servability to the bosses by pretending to view societal objectively. Society, not so... what? Without moral judgments, when all the time you're simply crypto-imperialist lapdogs. But... and you come to the Happy Absence Pit Park pretending solidarity with the oppressed. Pshaw, I see how that you're nothing but a catspaw of the oppressor class. Nothing but a cheese-colored Judas in Iscariot, I'm going with that, sent as a spy, traitor, bootlicker, sycophant, murderer, monopolist, profiter, slave trader, cannibal, parasite, technocrat, gangster, ectoplasm. No, you try to object, but Fozzer seizes the shovel from you and turns away. Turncoat, narc, double-crosser, weasel, man, he knows a lot of words, hijacker, vulture, Visigoth, breathalyzer, what? Okay. I'm not sure about that last one, but sure, okay. You watch his back recede into the fog, your heart sinking with the wreck of your hopes and dreams for friendship. I still don't get the breathalyzer part. Is it because I guess you choose who's good and bad, I guess? But I mean, it's not the breathalyzer's fault if you're alcoholic or not. I don't get that last one. Not sure. But, yeah, at least we know the way to go this time. Okay. The feeling comes over you suddenly that nothing can be more important than truth. Truth is at the foundation of all real friendship. Truth sets you free. Honesty is the best policy. So you take a deep breath and say that you hope you won't give offense, but that in your opinion, Alternia is the nastiest, ugliest, cruelest, most inhospitable, and most unfair place you've ever seen or heard of in a long life of travel and study. Even the plants are bloodthirsty. I always wanted to say planets, I don't know why. Even the soil is hard and mean. You've made so many no friends here. But you've heard it's also possible to make friends with lions, bears, killer whales, and other wild and dangerous creatures. In fact, often here on Alternia, you felt that you've been locked in a cage with a bunch of such wild and dangerous creatures. As you've talked, you've been watching, I almost said wasting, Fozzer anxiously for signs of anger. You're surprised to see that, instead, he seems to be loving it. And what about our political system? You've already put your foot in it. So you go ahead and put the other one in too. You express the opinion what a violent, rigoring, stratified, and sexual society, sectile social structure created solely to generate soldiers for a mad project to conquer the entire galaxy might raise eyebrows in some quarters. You admire natural selection and survival of the fittest as much as the next person, but this is overkill on a titanic scale. As you've been speaking, Fozzer's smile has grown wider and wider, and he's shown other signs of approval, such as jumping up and down and whirling around. He pumps his fist in the air. Forward to perfect socialism! It's so good to talk with someone who hasn't been hypnotized from Wranglerhood with counter-revolutionary pap. Someone who sees conditions on Alternia for what they really are. Who sees the evil of the High Bloods. Someone who will march in the vanguard of the workers' revolution to face unflinchingly to onslaught of the aristocracy. I don't know, I can't say that word for some reason. Perhaps nay, probably, to die in a hail of bullets but never turn their back on the people. Let me embrace you, comrade alien. And does so. He's oily and smells like mossy soil and poor ooze. Okay, but this does not dampen your spirits. What better preamble for making a suggestion of friendship? Agreeing with people about politics never fails to bring friendship closer. But before you can bring it up, Fozzer, having first kissed you on both cheeks, continues. But we mustn't allow our celebration of the People's Revolution to interfere with the honest labor that ennobles us. I'm holding you back from your ticket to the workers' paradise. Please proceed with your soul perturbation. All power to the people. Death to arbitrary homospectral discrimination. Forward, comrade. He waves his hand with a flourish, and you start digging again. You wonder if it'd be just as revolutionary if you traded places, so Fozzer could do the digging and so you could do the speechifying. But you don't wish to disturb the perfect harmony now existing between the both of you. Instead, you use your little available breath to inquire what all this soul perturbation is in aid of. Why, a coal pit, of course. Didn't you see the sign? This is the Happy Absence Pit Park, Fozzer Veli's proprietor. Alternia's revolutionary tradition is to put dig. What? What? That doesn't seem like it makes sense. Reactionary tradition is just to dig coal pits. Okay. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe I'm just thinking of it wrong. Okay, we'll restart that. Alternia's reactionary tradition is just to dig coal pits anywhere without a second thought. But our revolutionary future demands that we have more respect for the dead, so I've created this wonderful innovation, the Pit Park. There's a clown concert being held not far from here. That's probably where we meet our other friend. So I anticipate a brisk demand shortly. Best to be ready for these things. Having a lot of dead clowns lying around rotting on the property is unpleasant, not to mention unsanitary. Get them underground pronto is our motto here at the Happy Absence Pit Park. You're wondering privately whether a little class solidarity couldn't be extended to Purple Bloods. Remembering your dear friend Karoko Pirot when Fozzer seems to give a jump. No, that is not ghosts. What? Grateful for an excuse to stop digging, you turn to look in the direction Fozzer is staring. Leaning on your soul perturbation lance, you don't see anything but fog. You ask what is not ghosts. Nothing is. I'm a dialectual materialist, and if any ghosts come around the Happy Absence Pit Park, they should be aware that I won't believe in them, so they might as well go somewhere else. You confess that you don't see anything but foggy darkness, and humped and pitted ground, where you no-guess piles of cold Alternians' exoskeletons are buried in the coal pits. You don't see any ghosts because there's no such thing, but the past few nights, I thought I saw beams of light shining up on the ground. Almost as if, metaphorically of course, some of the exoskeletons in the coal pit had gotten hold of some flashlights and were shining them through... What? Shining them up through chinks in the soil. Look, there it is again! Okay, yeah, that is definitely weird, but I don't think that they got flashlights. That's a bit of a stretch. This time you see it, a column of light that flashes up through the fog and is gone. Seeming to come from a crack in the ground, which it briefly illuminates in blinding white, fascinated, you move toward the crack, which is now dark and invisible again. What are you doing? You look at Fozzer in surprise. He seems terrified. You ask tactfully whether he doesn't think you ought to see what that is. For example, it could be some infrastructure malfunction that could blow the Happy Absence Pit Park and all its inhabitants, living and dead, sky high. You're not even sure they have infrastructure in Alternia, but one can't be too careful. Well, maybe you're right. We are fearless, revolutionary cadres after all. You can hear his teeth chattering. You move toward where you think the flash came from. Fozzer close behind you, peering over your shoulder. You can't help wondering where he'll be when the vanguard of his revolution is braving hails of bullets. I don't know. Maybe nowhere? Somewhere different from here? I don't know. Weird thing just shut off on me. You very much hope that this revolution, if it ever comes, won't happen while you're around. Then a whole series of lights flash silently up from the ground, making columns through the fog. Fozzer jumps and howls behind you. Non-existent! You tell him there's undoubtedly a logical explanation, though you have to admit that I had a weird feeling just now when the lights appeared, like a momentary dizziness or feeling of discontinuity. Okay. But you're more curious than ever now. Murmuring comforting things to Fozzer, you start digging right around where the lights you just saw came from. Then it's weird, because you break through some kind of thin crust, as if the soil in that particular place is just a few inches thick over a brittle surface that your shovel goes right through like old pottery. You wonder whether you inadvertently dug into an old coal pit, but what would bright light be doing coming out of an old coal pit? And in some weird way, it doesn't feel like a coal pit. It feels like something metaphysical, like reality itself is particularly thin right in that spot, and you've broken through the very fabric of it with your soil perturbation lance. Can we just call it a shovel? Why do we keep calling it that? Sometimes you call it a shovel, sometimes you don't. Why don't you just call it a shovel if you're going to keep saying it? You dig around the edges of the hole, enlarging it until it's about a foot wide. The darkness within makes the darkness of Alternia night seem bright by comparison. It's so dark that the soil falling into it and the part of your soil perturbation lance poking into it seem to vanish completely, as if the other side of that hole reality itself gives out. You and Fozzer stare curiously down into this hole. Suddenly, a blinding but strangely blank light bursts up out of the hole into your faces. And at the same time, there's a deafening sound, which seems to vibrate the very framework of reality, like a gigantic needle scratching a gigantic record. Gritch. Okay. You're standing in the foggy night holding a soul perturbation lance that has been handed to you by Fozzer Veles. He points to where he's just been digging, and you begin digging in the same place. Apparently we just rewinded time? What? The moss that covers the ground is tough as leather, and the Alternian soil is rocky, hard, and unforgiving. No surprise there, and before long you're sweating profusely. But you feel strange. Like you were just standing somewhere else, doing something else, seeing something else. The afterimages of a blinding light and a deafening sound seem to linger in your eyes and ears. But around you is nothing but dark fog and bare ground humped and pitted. You must have had a dizzy spell. You shake it off and begin perturbing the soil. No exertion is far too great to pursue a friendship, after all. Fozzer watches you with satisfaction. Honest work is a wonderful thing. All hail the old regiment, eh? You look like a walking cheese, but your muscular development is impressive. What do you think of the planet? What has been your impression of it on your visit? Do I seriously just have to choose the same thing again? Okay. We'll go with that again. The feeling comes over you suddenly that nothing is more important than truth. Truth is at the foundation of all real friendship. Truth sets you free. Honesty is the best policy. Take a deep breath. Oh, it's cruelest. Am I really gonna have to read all this again? In fact, some of you felt that you've been locked in a cage with a bunch of wild animals. Uh-oh. So this is what happens. It changes his thinking, apparently. So I have to choose the other answer now. Okay, I gotcha. No doubt you could have anticipated that blunt honesty like this would give offense, and indeed it seems to have done so. So as you finish your remarks, Fozzer is frowning darkly. So you've come to Alternia as an uninvited guest only to criticize and judge our civilization, eh? No, no! You know enough about our society, our billions of years of evolution, and our painstaking rise from mud-dwelling insectile ancestors, the political and societal theories of our statesmen, philosophers, and scientists to make those judgments, do you? Well, no doubt you've done studies establishing what would happen if the hemospectrum groups were placed in different relations to one another. If, for example, rust bloods were the highest group and fuchsia bloods the lowest. Well, no, but I suppose your planet is so similar to Alternia that you have a firm basis on which to imply your preconceptions to us. Not at all, but I can't even get a word in edgewise. And sure, you aliens are similar enough biologically and physiology to trolls to know how much we feel about our own society? I thought not. I guess from the very first that you were nothing but a dilettante fused societist, pseudo-intellectual spouting your ivory tower theories without the least idea what you were talking about. Well, smarty pants alien, I suggest that you take your cheese-like person and your theories home to your own planet. If you don't, it won't be long before her most high imperial condescension conquers your arm of the galaxy that we Alternians can return the favor by standing in the judgment over your society and politics. In the meantime, I bid you good sedarium. And with that, the Fozzer Vela seizes his soil perturbation lands, as well as your hopes and dreams, and stalks off into the foggy night. To me that just looks like he's flicking me off. He could be, but I don't know. Yeah, I think he is. Wow, okay. Well, so apparently it changes his thinking of the question. So it rewinds time, so I have to choose the other answer. Very interesting. First time something like that has ever happened. So we go through here, and we continue to go through here, blinding light. Okay, now we choose this one. See, besides meeting Fozzer is stoked for a sweet friendship morsel. Yeah, I already read all that. And boredom is virtually unknown amongst people. Looking forward to the day when you could tell your grandchildren about it. Okay. As you're speaking, a satisfied smile overspreads Fozzer's face. I'm glad you recognize the nobility of our ancient society, which is orderly hierarchy and naturally evolved degrees of privilege reflecting naturally evolved degrees of ability. You're pleased that your words have met with approval, but you're still a little troubled. You have an odd deja vu sensation that this whole exchange could have been gone quite differently. Maybe even did go quite differently sometime in the past, or in some parallel universe. You inquire timidly whether the total domination of the lower bloods by the higher on Alternia doesn't sometimes feel like oppression. Never! I myself am only a rust blood, so I lack the privileges of the higher bloods, but the most important things for society is that everyone should be in their appointed place, and do the things they're suited for. If all the passengers in a rowboat keep their seats and row in the same direction, the boat will quickly reach its destination. But if the passengers all jump up and start running around and grabbing the other's oars, the boat will capsize and all will be lost. You remark diplomatically that Alternia isn't a rowboat rowing toward a destination. You're wrong. A planet is very much like a rowboat advancing through the black water of space. And as for our destination, all of us on Alternia aim but a single goal every hour of every day. To serve her most high imperial condescension? Yeah. And conquering her glorious galaxy-wide empire. Long live the Empress! Well, you suppose the sense of being part of something larger than yourself makes up for a lot. It does. And naturally evolved systems are almost always more robust than artificially designed ones. They are. And it's true that Alternia's social structure does bring some semblance of order to a collection of 12 disparate troll subtypes. It is. Fozzer beams at you fondly. There's nothing that warms the heart like someone who thinks you're right about everything. It's so wonderful to find someone, even someone who looks like a piece of cheese, thank you, who is so intelligent and understands society and politics so perfectly. Finally, a true friend. Oh, well, there we go. Victory. Oh, that was easy. Very interesting, though. I wasn't expecting the whole deja vu, scene that they did. Basically picking the same answer that you did before, but his mindset about it was completely different. Very interesting. Wonder why they did that. Don't know. But I still do wonder if we ever will meet a Sea Dweller before this ends. I don't know. Maybe there'll be 20 volumes altogether. Maybe that's as far as we'll go. There's 4 more volumes. I don't know. I'm hoping so. But I don't want this to end either. But I guess eventually it will have to. And then maybe Hiveswap Act 2 will come out, and then, we can continue with that story. I wonder if that girl will find him on Alternia. There's a hope. You never know. But anyways, I think we'll go ahead and call that one. So next time will be the clown thing, and we'll go ahead and go to Clown Fest. And then that sounds very interesting. We'll see how that works out for me. Hopefully I don't die like I kind of did at the clown church. Yeah, that one didn't go so well. But anyways, thank you for joining me for this adventure. I'll see you guys for the next adventure. Bye.